Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. What does that title actually mean? So I'm going to give you my theory, explain why I think what I think, where it's actually pointing us, and I think you're going to be kind of satisfied with what I think it means. I also want to remind you guys that there is a new round of the giveaway going on. There's still time to enter to win. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos, and then you can win a $25 Amazon gift card. The winner for that should be announced in a couple of days. After that, I have a really big giveaway coming up, so make sure you stay tuned because there's a real big giveaway that's going to be coming up later on this month. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into Episode 9. So, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, has everybody in an uproar. Like, what does this mean? Is this a big middle finger to Rian Johnson because, oh, you know what, Luke Skywalker died, so is Luke Skywalker coming back to life? That's one of the things a lot of people are thinking. I don't think it means that. A lot of other people are saying, does this mean Rey was actually his daughter the whole time? Does this, are they completely retconning everything that happened in Episode 8? And I don't think so. What I do think is, I think Episode 9's title and the direction they're going to take Episode 9 is going to build directly off of Episode 8 in a satisfying way. And now that may be hard for some people to swallow, but I'm going to explain my logic that took me into this. And I believe that the title is definitely going to be building on Episode 8 without trying to retcon stuff. I don't think they're going to change Rey's parents. I don't think they're going to say that Rey was secretly Luke Skywalker's daughter the whole time. And a lot of things that other people are saying is that they do think that Kylo Ren is going to be redeemed and come back as a redeemed Ben Solo. And while I am hoping for that, I don't think that that is necessarily a direct tie-in to the title either, because of the fact that, well, Ben Solo's last name isn't Skywalker. So it's not like he's going to be Ben Skywalker. I don't think he would dishonor his family and his name and just take a whole different last name and say, screw you, Han, I'm now going to be Ben Skywalker. I just don't think that's the case. People don't take their uncle's names, and even though it is his lineage, I don't see that happening. And it doesn't, the title isn't Rise of a Skywalker. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about my logic for this. So basically, I want to start with the prequels. Imagine Mace Windu and Yoda sitting there talking about, hey, maybe we should kind of reveal that our ability to use the Force has diminished. And that was kind of a theme that you saw over the prequels. First, you were kind of introduced to this Jedi Council. These are the old ways. The Jedi are, super strong. And over the course of the prequels, you realize that their ability to use the Force had diminished. They had less foresight, less ability to really be awesome. And that's kind of one of the things that allowed Palpatine to kind of rise up and usurp them directly under their nose. A stronger order of Jedi would not have let that happen, presumably. It doesn't mean that Yoda and Mace Windu were chumps, but they weren't as strong as perhaps they could have been if the Jedi Order was a stronger order. Now we'll fast forward into the original trilogy, whereas, Luke is training, he's the last of the Jedi, or potentially you also have Leia also. But, basically it's like Luke and Leia are the last of the Jedi Order. Now, at the timeline of the original trilogy, we're not led to believe, or at least knowing everything that's going on between Star Wars Rebels and the fact that there are other Force users. Luke isn't the only Force user out there, but he's the last of the Jedi, so that specific order. Like we have Ahsoka, and everything that's been going on, in the last couple of years has led us to believe that there can be other Force users, but the Jedi is a specific religion or order of Force users, and Luke is the last of them. And, and that kind of feeds its way into Episode 8 as well. So Luke has got to pass on what he has learned. That was kind of his instruction from Yoda. Now we're going to jump into the sequel trilogy here, and I'm getting to what I think Rise of Skywalker actually means. And let me know if you kind of guessed along there with me as I'm kind of spelling it out. And a lot of this is going to have to do with Episode 8. So there's a couple of things we learn. We learn that Rey's parents are supposedly, nobodies. And, granted, nobody's really a nobody. But we learned that Luke says it's time for the Jedi to end. He wants the Jedi to end. He's got all kinds of frustrations about the Jedi Order. And apparently he's not the only one, because Ahsoka had a lot of those same frustrations. And so, you're seeing that maybe the Jedi do end. Although Luke does kind of counter that with the end. He goes, I will not be the last Jedi. So I think that was more of a tongue-in-cheek thing, like that Rey has completed her training. I think he was saying that Rey is good enough right now. She's got the Yoda kind of told him look, she's got everything she needs. Luke kind of got the reassurance from Yoda that Rey is good to go. She's strong enough. So, and plus she's also got Leia to help her answer questions, and because Leia obviously knows some things about the Force. So I think Rey will, between the texts and talking with Leia, and maybe even with Luke's Force Ghost, and possibly other Force Ghosts, she's going to get everything she needs. So now, where does Episode 9 take us? Well, I believe that, and here it is, I believe that the Rise of Skywalker is not an individual, but a new line of Force users. Light side Force users. And I think it's going to be called the Order of Skywalker. And I think Rey is going to be basically the founder of this new line of Jedi. It's a great way to honor the original trilogy and have all of the light side users from this point forward be named in honor of Luke Skywalker, since he was the one that saw the problems with the Jedi Order and wanted to bring about change. Maybe he stumbled when he, on his way to do it, but eventually came around to do it, did agree to train Rey, reconnect with the Force. His Force Ghost will probably be in Episode 8, helping to bring about the new line of Force users, a new type of Jedi, but maybe they won't be called the Order of the Jedi. They might also be called a type of Jedi. They may be called Skywalker Jedi. They may just be called Skywalkers. Another thing that kind of supports this theory is some of the Thrawn books. We do learn that, that Chiss do have some Force-sensitive people, but they call them Skywalkers because they help them navigate through hyperspace. And so having, that there's an entire line of Force users called Skywalkers is another thing that kind of led me to this particular theory that the new Jedi going forward, or the new light side Force users, will be called Skywalkers. And more stuff about Episode 8 that kind of supports this is Kylo Ren, let old things die, the Sith and the Jedi. Well, he might have been onto something, because I think those things are going to die. I think the Jedi will have, will be no more, but it doesn't mean the light side is no more. A lot of people intertwine these two things, that if you're light side, you must be Jedi. If you're dark side, you must be Sith. Well, we already have hints of that, because Kylo Ren is dark side, but he's not Sith. Snoke, it's not exactly sure exactly what he was, but he never said anything about Sith, right? So we know Palpatine was a Sith, we knew Vader was a Sith, and that was definitely a prequel thing. But the Sith went away a little bit before the Jedi did. So I believe the Rise of Skywalker means a rise of a new order of light side users, and it could also kind of pave the way for future stories to be told, more trilogies that aren't directly connected to having Luke Skywalker in them, yet they can still honor where they came from. If they tell more future stories, which I definitely hope they do, because the future is unwritten, so you can tell a future story and anything can happen in the future. You can have planets get blown up. You can have major political changes. You can have major characters switch sides, go from good to evil or evil to good. You can have consequences on a galactic scale, which is something that Star Wars is known for. So if they want to tell stories in the future, post Episode 9 someday, which I hope they do, they will still have a way to honor George Lucas, the original trilogy, the Skywalker name, as well as the prophecy of the one who would bring balance to the Force, which was Anakin Skywalker, who really the entire Star Wars saga is all about. Calling it the Rise of Skywalker doesn't necessarily mean it's Luke Skywalker. It doesn't mean it's Rey from nowhere, or maybe, and maybe she will take on the surname Skywalker as more of a title rather than a name. Maybe Ben Solo will become Ben Solo, a Skywalker. He could be a Skywalker in terms of being redeemed and being a light side user of this new order. Maybe this new order won't be so restrictive. Maybe the new order will allow you to raise a family. And again, something else coming back to Episode 8, whereas, Rose's, and say what you will about, Rose and some of the choices that they made for her character with that movie, but her whole thing about protecting what we love, maybe that was a sign of, a foreshadowing of things that the new Jedi will stand for. Maybe they're allowed to love, and maybe they're allowed to protect what they love. Maybe. Again, there's a lot of leaps that I'm taking here, but I think the idea of a Skywalker being a title or a new line of light side users going forward isn't really a bridge too far. I think the natural conclusions are that Rey is going to follow in Luke's footsteps and pass on what she has learned. She probably won't be the only Force user, like to where that she dies and all of a sudden nobody has any knowledge anymore. I have a feeling she's going to pass on what she has learned. I have a feeling that, I also have a feeling that Kylo Ren is going to be a redeemed Ben Solo before the end of the film. At least I'm hoping for that, because that's something that in my heart of hearts that I've always wanted. But we're going to have to wait and see. So I would love to hear from you guys what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think there's any validity to this theory, or do you have your own theories? Share them down below. Let me know what you think. If you see another theory down below in the comment section that you agree with, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let's get the conversation going, because it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I want to give a big thanks to my patrons as well. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know. Share this video with your friends. Do you think we're onto something here? All right, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.